Hello soul searchers, and welcome back to my channel where we use tarot to gain better insight into ourselves and the world around us. So if you are familiar with spirituality and tarot specifically, I'm sure you've seen pick a card readings here on YouTube. Today I'm going to flip that on its head a little bit, and we are going to do a pick a story reading. So basically for all stories, this is the spread. This is the spread for everybody's reading, but the story does change depending on which story pile you choose. So feel free to go to the timestamps to forward to each story. But before we get into the description box, let me just pick the charms, pieces of jewelry, for each story. So not pile one. Look, I'm in a habit. So story one, this is the charm. So this is the charm for story one. It is a gold earring. The charm for story two, we have a burgundy wine-ish color earring. In story three, you have a seashell. And I did pick this from the beach myself. I'm just going to give you guys some time to review the charms, pick your story, and then when you've chosen, you can go to the description box, click that timestamp, and it will direct you right to your reading. See you soon. First thing that I'm seeing with this Eight of Voices all the way to the left is analysis paralysis. And that's really interesting to me because Eight of Swords is usually described as being like the ways in which we trap or limit ourselves with our minds, with our way of thinking. So basically like limiting beliefs. Analysis paralysis is not normally what comes through with Eight of Voices, but for some reason it's coming through like a Seven of Cups energy. Seven of Cups is the card of analysis paralysis sometimes. I tend to get that more frequently with that. Eight of Voices, it's almost giving 10 of Voices, just not as dark or as hard as that energy. So 10 of Voices is like the sense of you've done everything that you can to figure out something, and no matter what, it's just like it's not figure outable. You have to give it to spirit. I'm seeing 424 on the camera. It's like no matter what you've done, you just can't get to a solution. And I'm kind of getting that same energy with this Eight of Voices, except especially with Seven of Cards kind of showing up intuitively. It's almost like, you've done everything logically that you can to try to solve this. You've done a pros and cons list. You've talked to different mentors or other people who have similar experiences. Some of you have gone to like Reddit threads. I'm just getting like a lot of research. Like you've done the legwork and the research, and you still have no further insight into what you should be doing. And something about this does feel very work related, but it doesn't have to be. Voices is related to the mind and communication. It's the Suit of Swords in this deck. I'm sorry, I didn't even tell y'all the deck that I'm using. This is the Muse Tarot by Chris Ann. So yeah, voices represent swords in this deck. So this is the suit of the mental space and communication. And so I think that's why I'm picking up on work, but really, you know, you use your mind and communication everywhere. You use it in romantic relationships. You use it to pursue your dream project. So this could really be about anything. With this Five of Voices, what's coming up is, what is her name? Ooh, I forgot her name in the movie. Triss in Divergent. It was the first movie, I believe, and it's when she's taking the test and then her simulation version is like, choose. That's what I'm getting with this Five of Voices. There's something in you that's just like, choose. Just choose. Because it appears to me, this Five of Voices is appearing to me like a lot of different options or a lot of different possibilities for who you could be. Five of Voices usually talks about ego, but something about this particular one, it feels like the mask isn't yet set, like the ego mask isn't yet chosen or set, and you're almost like sifting through, trying on different faces, trying on different hats, trying on different roles, and you still haven't quite found it. And I think you might be feeling some pressure to do that and to just choose, because that is very strongly coming through with this Five of Voices. Just so y'all know, I did see 646 on the camera. So again, these palindrome numbers are they're just giving mirror energy. Like there's something being reflected back to you in this moment, and that could definitely be important considering the Five of Voices here, and the way that like these two especially are mirroring each other. Now the smaller people down here aren't doing that as much, but the larger figures are. So Gemini energy could be important. The Lovers, you may have been seeing the Lovers card a lot lately. In any case, the advice here, if you're feeling like, you know, you've done all the mental math you can do and you still don't really have a way to make a choice, it's because sorry, I've never gotten this with the Knight of Voices before, but flow with me. It's because instead of choosing between, let's just say you have like 3 different options of maybe a career path. Just for example, I don't know what this is about, but we're just going to go with career. It's like instead of choosing one of the two, you're supposed to look at a higher perspective and see where that's taking you. So let me ground this down just a little bit further, because I know that might not make sense. For me personally, I've been really trying to do, like, I know I want to live a creative life. So I know I want to create content. I know I love doing makeup. And I know I love telling stories. So instead of choosing between all 3 of those, Spirit kind of came to me one day. It was like, just do all of it. And that is kind of the energy that's coming through with this Five of Voices as well, but that's kind of more so for the second message, so I'm gonna pause on that. It's kind of like, just do all of it, because as you do all of it, you will see that you're working on a grander project than what you can see right now. So y'all know I wrote a tarot tale, or maybe you don't know, but just in case you don't know, I did write a tarot tale, basically a short story that I wrote using a tarot deck, and I illustrated it in everything. It's on YouTube. It's called Rochelle, Her Tale and New Trails. I will link it up here. But I wrote that, right? I was then guided to create like clothing for myself surrounding that theme, or sculptures surrounding that theme. Now I'm seeing 1010 on the camera. Or I started a painting surrounding that theme. So like all of these things that I've done just based on having written the story. And the ultimate goal will be having a digital art exhibit surrounding this story, right? I'll have music, I'll have all these other things. So that's kind of what I'm getting. It's like it looks fragmented right now, but that's because you're not looking high enough. If you look high enough, I'm getting Higher Love again with Whitney Houston and Kygo. At this point, that song just needs to be like pinned somewhere. I just need to pin it on my channel because it's just like the song of the channel. But yeah, it's because you're not looking high enough. All of the things you're trying to do are connected in some sort of way, or they're meant to be connected to what you're going to create. So again, on surface, tarot, makeup, and writing stories, those don't necessarily seem to have anything to do with each other, right? But they become very cohesive when I put them in the space of a digital art exhibit and I say this is connected to this through this and that, right? Like suddenly it all makes sense when it comes together that way. But there is, with this Night of Voices, a sense that you kind of have to put that umbrella on it. Like it is appearing to be fragmented to you, but you are the umbrella. I'm just noticing like how, so you see how like all of these ladies down here are fragmented. Not fragmented. All of these figures down here, they're kind of all doing their own different things. They're not, excuse me, they're not necessarily mirroring each other. They're just all facing forward, but they're doing their own thing or whatever. So they look different, especially this one on the left. They kind of appear to all be different, but then these two figures up here, these bigger figures, are kind of the umbrella that brings all of these figures together, that brings this whole image together, really. These two are the glue. And so I'm kind of getting the same thing for you, is that all of these little fragments and different things you want to do, or different things you want to pursue, or even these different options, they're meant to be under an umbrella. They're not meant to be chosen between. You are meant to do all of them. And I'm not going to say you're meant to do all of them long term. Like for me, I feel like I am meant to do my projects long term. Like I feel like that is truly part of my life purpose, if not my entire life purpose. But some of you guys, like for example, because I've been focusing a lot on work, let's just say this is romantic. Maybe you have different suitors. And maybe you're feeling pressure to choose. I don't know if that's from you or from one of them, but the message here would be to date all of them and like actually date, not necessarily get into entanglements now, because that's how things get messy, but just date and really see like who do you vibe with, who makes you happy, who makes you laugh, who makes you anxious, and go on as many dates as you need to kind of get that intel. But do all of it. Like you can't make a decision when you don't know what you're getting yourself into. I mean, you can. People usually don't end up enjoying those decisions. So it's better to do the intel and the investigative work now, instead of getting yourself into a situation and then regretting it later. Okay. So that is the first message. I hope it helped. I hope it resonated. There is something kind of coming through with this Night of Voices, tying this out in the advice portion. There is something coming through regarding solar plexus, but also sacral energy, because I mean, this does appear to be more yellow, but it does have like a little hint of orange in it, like kind of some orange yellow vibes. So sacral chakra is all about your creative center. It's basically your chakra of creation, also the sexual chakra. So there's something about that. And then also the solar plexus, which is more so about confidence, willpower, just being firm and strong within yourself and your core beliefs. So with those two energies kind of coming out in the advice section, I do just feel like if this is work related and you were trying to choose between career options, there is some sort of way of like bringing them all together. I'm also getting like contractor work. So like if you're stuck between 3 different companies and they all kind of sound good, but they're all kind of like missing something vital that you need, something about becoming a contractor, and then you kind of work for all of them as an independent contractor. Just different examples, different ways that this would kind of apply. But yeah, if you chose story 1, that is all I have for you. I certainly hope it helped, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. All right, story 2. Hello, welcome to your reading. So I kind of have an example from my life for y'all's story. It's not even a story, really. Basically, some of you guys may be going through something really kind of confusing right now. This 8 of Voices normally talks about entrapment, but now that I think about it, I guess, anyway, whatever. It talks about like limiting beliefs and the ways that we trap ourselves. But what I'm really getting here is confusion. It's like it's like you've been stumped by something and you're really trying to figure it out, flesh it out, whatever. I will say, if you chose this story, it feels like you are very intuitive, or you're into, like, you do your own readings. You know how to divine your own information, whether that's through tarot, scrying, opele, like whatever you do, it's like you know how to get spiritual information for yourself. Because I'm getting Goddess of Cups coming through, and that's kind of she is highly intuitive. The only one more intuitive than her would be the High Priestess in the tarot. But the thing about Goddess of Cups is that sometimes she can manipulate the story as well. And this is important because this is how we get into this 5 of Voices. So with the 8 of Voices, I'm sensing a lot of confusion in you potentially having done a lot of like your divination and whatever your practice is. Maybe it's meditation, prayer. It's like you've done all of that and you're still confused about this situation. 5 of Voices, and I don't know if this is coming through as a warning or a challenge, but there's almost a sense that, like I said, you've chosen the narrative or the story or the perspective. So, like, being spiritual and doing divination, you know how important it is to ask questions correctly, because even just the way that you ask a question can change how the answer comes out, right? And I'm cooking. So yeah, y'all are definitely tapped in. But there is something about just being careful to not assume you already know the answer. It's coming through very clearly with this 5 of Voices. 5 of Voices also talks about ego. And so, sorry y'all, I gotta get it together over here. So like with this 5 of Voices, even if your intentions are pure and truly in the highest good of everyone, which I do feel like you do operate from that sort of place, there's just something about the ego kind of getting in the way. So it's crazy because I have such a perfect example, but I don't want to talk about it because I haven't fully discussed this with this person either. Okay, so for example, just to ground this down a little bit, this could be you, maybe you're confused about how to fix your relationship. Just an example. I don't know what you're asking about, but it's because that part's not even important, that at least not for this reading. but let's just say you're trying to figure out how to fix your relationship. And so you go to your cards or your Obi or your water scrying, whatever you do, and you're like, how do I fix my relationship? And the reason you're still confused, what I'm getting is that the reason you're still confused is because, oh my God, and it's like, it keeps changing. It's literally changing as I'm trying to get the fucking message out. I'm seeing 2220 on the camera, so 222 could be very valid. You could be asking how to fix your relationship, and you're still confused about the answer because you didn't ask the right question. You know, you're assuming that the relationship needs to be fixed, but really you should ask, because you said, how should I fix, like in this example, the question was, how do I go about fixing my relationship? And really what you should ask is, should I fix my relationship, or should I let it go? There's something about starting with a yes or no question and then working from there. I know that like with tarot, scrying, things like that, it gets very expansive very quickly. 2323 on the camera. But there's something about starting from a yes-no point and then moving from there. So like in the example I just gave, the original question was, how should I fix my relationship? And then that's a very open question. Like you can't answer that with a yes or no. I'm seeing 2, 3, 4, 5 on the camera. So yes, this is where we need to be going. Instead of starting from a place like that, you do want to start with the yes or no question. So the first question needs to be, should I fix my relationship? Or should I leave this relationship? Like it should be something that can be answered in a yes or no, and then you can get more detail from there. There's something between this 8 of voices confusion and this 5 of voices ego. There's something about how you're unintentionally manipulating the outcome and the answer that you're looking for. So seeing 2424 on the camera, numbers are probably all around you all the time. I just got All Around Me by Flyleaf. Some of you guys might need to cleanse as well. Yeah, sorry. Like spiritually cleanse, whether that's with sage, Palo Santo, whatever you use. If you just use a feather, if you use bells, like however you cleanse energy, you might not have done that for a while. So definitely do some cleansing, because I'm also getting just like kind of some interference, like, and that explains why a little earlier I was in the energy and then it just shifted and I had to literally bring myself back. Like, what was I saying? So if you're experiencing a lot of that, definitely cleanse your energy. However you want to do it. You could also do it with music frequencies. Because that Knight of Voices at the end is talking to me about the solar plexus. And so, yeah, there just might be some interference right now. And listen, if nobody has ever told you, nobody has any power over you except the power that you give them. No entity, no being. So take your power back, cleanse yourself, and make sure you're keeping up with your spiritual hygiene. Yeah, shit, I'm gonna have to cleanse after this one. Anyway, what else? I feel like there was more. I feel like actually those are the two biggest things. Cleanse your energy, and also don't assume you know what you need to be doing. Don't assume that the relationship needs to be fixed, because it might be that relationship has run its course. You've learned what you needed to learn from it, and it's time to let it go. So really ask from as open a place as you can, like, should I stay or should I go? should I do this or should I do that? And look for a yes or a no. And then from there, you can kind of expand out. Y'all are, from what I'm seeing here, y'all are readers. So this probably isn't new information, but maybe it's just been forgotten or kind of put to the side while y'all were battling this specific confusion or scenario. But yeah, that is all I'm getting for you guys. I'm just making sure. That is all I'm getting for you guys. So I hope this message helped and resonated. I definitely look forward to seeing y'all in the next video. But until then, I will see you later, story 2. Actually, I don't know how to do this because this is kind of tying into story 2 as well, but then it also feels like its own separate thing. So one more thing that I'm getting, if you're confused with the 8 of voices and the 5 of voices, besides the piece about how you're asking the question, I'm also getting something about all of the voices. Like Flyleaf is in my head heavy right now. And so I think you guys might be thinking about the situation a lot, but not talking about it a lot. Not journaling it. Like it's only in your head. And so I think in your head it's going around in circles instead of going anywhere. It's going on loop. I just did something today that I found very helpful for me, so I'm going to share it with you because I think it might be helpful for you, especially with this Knight of Voices at the end. So I basically drove. I didn't stream any music. I didn't listen to the radio. I drove to a couple different places to run some errands, but during my drive, I was talking out loud to myself and my spiritual team. But it wasn't exactly a prayer. It was just like, Spirit, this is what I'm having problems with. And it wasn't even like, how can you help or what do I need to do? It was like a vent session, like a true vent session where I could just get all of it out and flesh out every little detail of the situation. And I would have moments where I'm like, and I think, like, this is a situation, but also I think I may have influenced it because of how I received it here. And, like, I never actually expressed to this person that was an issue and blah, blah, blah. Like, I really just fleshed the shit out. And so for you guys, I think that would be very helpful. I can only assume you're going around in circles with this in your head because you don't feel like anyone else will understand, or maybe you don't really have your spirit tribe yet. But if you do have people around you, talk to them as well if you want to. But I'm definitely feeling like, if nothing else, just talk to yourself. Who gives a fuck if it's supposedly crazy? I don't think it is. Talk to yourself. Because yourself will respond. And it's like you'll just be having a whole vent session, but also finding solutions, because I don't know what it is about having it said out loud that really helped me today, because it's something I've been thinking about for like at least 2 days now. But just being able to express it out loud, even with no one else listening, was so helpful for me. So with this Knight of Voices at the end, I definitely think that may help as well, because the Knight of Voices is a quick messenger and probably, like, usually a bit more vocal, usually a fast talker. And so, you can try journaling, you could try, other forms of expression, but for some reason I really feel like just talking, using your voice, will really help you with whatever this confusion is. Alright, story 2. This time, I think that is really all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing y'all in my next video. Until then, I will see you later, story 2. Story 3. Hello, and welcome to your reading. So, I was called to pour a little bit of whiskey, just a little, wait, you can't even see it. It's literally just a smidge of whiskey It's a shot, but I have it in this rocks glass. Apparently it doesn't want to be seen, so whatever. I was called before recording your reading to pour a little bit of whiskey, and that lets me know that this is going to be probably tied to something ancestral. Your Eight of Voices, and I'm starting to understand now that I'm at your story. I'm starting to understand that this card changes meaning. Which, like, I've always known that, but it's just so funny, like, seeing how quickly, even in the same spread, it changes. For you, this is coming through as self-sabotage, boo. It's okay. You're welcome here, okay? We are a family. I am not any high and mighty messenger. The only reason this message can come through me is because I have either gone through it or I am going through it. And in this case, I am going through it. So, and I'm not going to say I'm still self-sabotaging, but you know what? We'll get into it. So, I'm seeing 1, 2, I lied. That was 1, 3, 1 on the camera. Self-sabotage, being the Eight of Voices, is interesting because Eight of Voices usually talks about limiting beliefs and the way in which we keep ourselves trapped with those. These two, the Eight of Voices and the Five of Voices, are working together a lot in all of these readings. And with this specific Five of Voices, the self-sabotage that you have is somehow tied to your image. So this could be, and I do resonate with this one, this could be spending more money than you should on like cosmetics or makeup, or cosmetics and makeup are the same thing. What the fuck? I haven't even had a sip of the whiskey yet. What is happening? 2, 3, 2 on the camera, as well as 2, 3, 4. But yes, maybe I should have a sip of whiskey. That was confirmation. Let me do that. My bad. Okay. So this could be buying cosmetics or clothing, or paying for beauty treatments that are outside of your budget. This could also be related to a relationship, past or present. I do feel like it's more romantic, but whether it's past or present, there's like a lot of focus, at least for you, on how this relationship makes you look, how people perceive your relationship. There's a lot about image coming through with your Five of Voices, and it's literally the same Five of Voices that's been out. But that's what I'm really getting with you, is that image and perception mean a lot to you. And so your self-sabotaging behaviors come in when you let that desire for a certain perception precede your actual feeling about the things. So going back to that example, it's like you may, let's just say for example, you're in a relationship and you absolutely adore this person, but then you bring them around your close friends and family and you realize that they don't quite fit. Maybe they don't dress the same, maybe their humor is not the same. Maybe your family and friends will literally like, you know, pull you to the side and say something like, are you sure this is your person? Because like, you know, like maybe they just start planting seeds. And even if they don't say anything though, you're very perceptive yourself. That's why perception matters so much to you, because you're catching tiny details that a lot of people don't catch. Little things that kind of fly over everyone else's head. You take it and you zoom in on it and you make a whole story out of that one thing, and you think everybody else is doing that to you. You think everybody else is actually taking that time, that level of attention to scrutinize you. And to be fair, some people do have that skill, but probably not as many people as you think. But even if your family or friends don't say anything about your relationship to your face, you can see right through them. You can sense how they're feeling. And so it may not cause you to break up with your partner, but it might cause you to act out. Hence the self-sabotage. You're not gonna actively, I don't know why I get this, but I don't feel like you're gonna actively do anything. You might actively just break up with this person because it matters how your family and your friends perceive your partner, and how y'all are perceived together. That matters a lot to you. And I feel like that is tied to something in the past. It could be tied to bullying that you experienced. It could be tied to past life trauma. It could be tied to your ancestry. Like I said, with this whiskey wanting to come out, the past is very influential here. But in any case, what I sense more so than you breaking up with your partner is you starting arguments. Like, out of nowhere. Like, even you know that, like, this isn't something that would normally be a big deal, but for some reason, right now, it feels like a big deal, so you're gonna make it a big deal. You're gonna make it a big fucking deal. So yeah, you're gonna, like, start arguments out of nowhere, or you're gonna distance yourself. You're gonna just get moody. You're, you know, like, now you're in a bad mood because your family said something, and instead of telling your partner or communicating any of this, you're just gonna, you know, walk around the house slamming doors and shit. I know toxic behavior, okay? I wrote the guidebook on it. You're welcome. I'm joking. But I'm not here to judge. That's really what I'm trying to say. I'm not here to judge because I've done all of this. But I just need you to know that that is self-sabotage. I'm being reminded, this is so funny. I'm being reminded of an episode of Harlem that I watched yesterday or the day before. But Camille basically told Angie that she was self-sabotaging with Jameson, and, you know, after having just gotten Ian back and everything. And Angie was like, you telling Ian is just further it's just further self-sabotage. You telling anybody else outside of me is just further self-sabotage. So keep talking to me about this, but don't tell anybody else, because that's just the same behavior showing itself in another way to cause you and Ian to potentially break up. So self-sabotage, it's so funny because it seems so small on the surface, like it could just be you acting out, but the fact that that episode is coming to mind, and I will try to put the episode name and number on the screen as well, because I can't remember. I know it's season 2. I can't remember which episode number I'm on, so I'll try to put that on the screen for you. But the way that Angie broke that shit down, it was like, damn, because it wasn't just the first act that was sabotage. She like went through, yep, and the fact that you're doing this and the fact that you're doing that, and like the whole pattern of self-sabotage that was there, she really broke that down. And for some of you, that may be the case. It may not be just like a surface level thing. It really may be a gnarly little, like, even when you're trying to do right, you're still self-sabotaging. And I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because I'm overwhelmed. Like, I can only imagine how heavy that must be, that like even when you're trying to do right, you're fucking up, according to someone. So I'm also seeing 501. That's my hometown. There's a lot about roots. There's a lot about roots, where we come from, the past. I did say ancestry as well at the beginning, but not even necessarily ancestral past. This could also just be like your past, things that you have gone through throughout your life. There's a lot here about perception. And so Knight of Voices being the advice, before we even get to the Knight of Voices, with the ancestors in the past coming through kind of heavily, you may want to do some ancestral veneration if you feel like this is tied to your ancestors. Like, I'm not sure which past this is tied to. For some of you, it's your ancestors. For some of you, it's your inner child, like your past self that needs healing. And I said inner child For some of you, it may be your younger self, your inner child. For some of you, it may just be like a younger version, like early 20s or 30s version of you that needs healing. Some of you may want to do a past life regression, but there's something with the past that needs some recognition. It needs a light shined on it because your self-sabotage is specifically linked to something in the past. The darkness of this card is really calling to me specifically for your story because it's a shadow. Like the self-sabotage that you're doing, I don't think it's easily recognizable to you. Watching this video may have brought something up, but it's not easily recognizable. Like for me, when I'm acting up, I can kind of catch it, and then I have to like backtrack and be like, okay, why am I in a mood? Why am I doing this? But it's only because I've done it so many times that now I'm aware, like, oh, hold on, let me analyze this a little bit. You guys may just now be getting to that point. I'm seeing 1331 on the camera. You guys may just now be getting to the point where you understand like triggers and the need to do shadow work. But your Eight of Voices with this self-sabotage message is definitely coming with a message about shadow work. Whether that's ancestral veneration, connecting with your ancestors, inner child work, something like that. Sorry, I'm getting like so emotional talking about that. So that's the first piece of advice. Something about the past needs like a light shined on it because it's just like bound up within you, causing chaos. And I don't even think it means to, but it's just like, that's a conversation for another day because this video will go for another 30 minutes and we just don't have time. Not today, not to go into that. But you might want to watch my Tron Legacy videos that will be posted. Ooh, those are actually posted quite a while from now. So maybe like a couple weeks out. Yeah. The second thing that's coming up with this Nine of Voices is just communication in general. Like the need to communicate with the people you're interacting with. So, for example, going back to that example where, you know, you have a partner who you really love, but they're just meeting your family and you're realizing that it may not be the most copacetic energy. Communicate that to your partner. You could let your partner know, like, hey, and let them know, like, there's nothing that they need to change, but you're just now having to battle some of your family's opinions because XYZ. And I don't even know if you would want to, you know your partner better than I do, right? Like that may not be helpful for the relationship. That may make them more paranoid to go around your family. But maybe talk to a therapist, talk to somebody about the weight that you carry, because it feels very heavy to always be so aware. And also, like, communicate to your family, like, yeah, that doesn't help me. Like, I don't need to hear y'all's critiques about my partner. I really just wanted y'all to meet him or her or them because I love them and I love y'all and I just need y'all to connect. You don't have to love them for me. I love them for me. I just need you to meet them and vibe. Like, find a connecting point. I don't need your criticism. I don't need your critique. Something about this for sure is related to family. Oh, fuck. That movie with Sanaa Lathan, and I've only watched it like once because it pissed me the hell off. What's the name of that damn movie? But it was like a movie where she went natural and her mom had a whole issue with that. I'm gonna find this movie. Hold on. She's playing in a couple movies like this. Something New. Nappily Ever After and Something New. Both are Sanaa Lathan movies. I definitely feel like Nappily Ever After, she had like a hypercritical mom. I want to say the same is true about something new. Either way, I'm feeling like you really need to talk to your family about how their critique affects you, and really, it just puts a heavy burden on you. I feel like that's why you care so much about image and perception, because if your own family is this fucking harsh, then who knows what the rest of the world is saying, right? So maybe like family therapy, that's even coming through. But if none of that is resonating, at least therapy. Like, at least just talk to somebody to sort yourself out. If you want to sort yourself out before you start going for everybody else, I totally understand that. I do feel like that's a good mode of operation, but sometimes it's also good to just get it all out in the air all at once, you know? So however you want to proceed, I do just feel like there's a need to clear some shit out. It feels very heavy. Watching those movies could somehow help you as well. And then I'm also seeing journaling. Like journaling about your feelings. This is very specific. Definitely only take this if it resonates, as with anything I say. But the guidance that's coming through is to basically fill a journal with your feelings. And you don't have to write every day necessarily. It is good to be consistent, but it's more so important for you right now that when you feel triggered, when you feel heavy emotion, that you get it out. And so whenever those heavy emotions come up, journal them out, write them out, and do not read your entries back. Keep this journal and don't read it until you filled it up. And I would say even like after that last entry, that last page gets filled, wait a couple days and then go back and read through your whole journal. And just see what patterns and what things kind of popped up for you. This is almost like some self-therapy, because I know therapy is expensive. But this is basically what therapists do. I mean, look, I'm not a clinical therapist. I don't actually know what they do. But part of what you will see them do is during every session they're taking notes. And they're taking notes because they're trying to recognize patterns. They're trying to recognize like what topics keep coming up, what emotions keep coming up, what is the recurring theme. Because once you have that, you can kind of start pinpointing a root problem and then working on a solution for said root problem. The word root is very specific and it keeps coming up for you guys. So root work may also be relevant. You may want to look into that. Do a deep dive into your spiritual and emotional hygiene. I kind of like that idea of journaling like the heavy emotions, or just journaling when you feel called. Specifically, I feel like they're more so trying to get you to focus on the heavy emotions, because I think that may be what you try to avoid. That's what most people try to avoid, self included, until that shit stopped working. So now I just have to face them head on. But also, just like whenever you feel called, feel free to journal. But I think, yeah, okay. So I'm just repeating myself now. What the hell? Look, I'm just repeating myself now. So I'm going to go. I certainly hope this message helped and resonated with you. I wish you all the best healing, the best clarifying journey that you can have for your highest good. You guys are kind of in the thick of it right now, I feel. And I feel like you're wearing it so beautifully, people don't even know. And that's why it's important that you talk about it. I'm getting, you guys may want to watch Harlem, because this is a second Harlem reference. But y'all's energy kind of reminds me of Quinn. If you know, you know. I'm not going to say too much. But again, I'm wishing you all the best, sincerely, from my heart. I am feeling so much from you guys. So I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this helped. I hope it resonated. Thank you for your spiritual team. This for your highest good for coming through. I'm seeing 2525 on the camera. I'm going to go blow my nose and cry some tears on y'all's behalf. But thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys in my next video. Until then, I will see you later. Story 3.